Hello there, welcome back. Nostalgia trip on two fronts here. Not isn't this about Speccy games, but it's about games that are based on pop stars from the 80s, which we all sort of grew up around about that time. So we should know many of these people and individuals that had games based on them. So one of them is going to be very, very obvious. You don't even need to be told that it's going to feature in this list. But there's a few obscure ones, and we're going to start. You could guess from the thumbnail that this one was going to be in it. The Shakein Stevens game. Now, I've got to tell you, if you hear a low-pitched humming sound every few minutes, I know it's Valentine's Day, but it's nothing sinister. I've got a blood pressure monitoring machine on, and it goes off every few minutes. I've got to wear it for 24 hours, so we're coming up to the end of that. And it's going off at the moment. It's hurting my arm. Right, so the Shakein game. This was based on, this was released apparently at the end of the B-sides to one of his albums. Shakein Stevens, of course, very famous, very successful in the early to mid 1980s. An incredibly woeful dancer, but the game sort of mirrors his dancing ability. It's a pile of crap. It's basically a maze game where you have got to guide Shaky in his car through the maze, avoiding the vampire bats, to this old house. Now, how the bats can get into his car, I don't know. Now, the controls on this, there are only two, Cap, Shift and Z, for going in and out of the maze. They're really clunky, and at times they do not respond to you pressing them. And it makes it incredibly frustrating. Not dinky digger sort of frustrating, but not that far away from it. But I suppose if you were a Shakein Stevens fan and you bought the album and you got what in effect was a free game, you wouldn't have moaned too much, but then you wouldn't have played the game too much. I wouldn't have thought. You'd have given it sort of the first 5 minutes go of it, and then put it away, never to be seen again. Now, as can be seen there, well, Shaky loves me because I managed to get all the way to the old house, or did I? Can't remember. Because, as I said before, I do the commentaries for these videos separately to the actual gameplay, because otherwise it would be full of swearing, especially in this game. As you can see there, you've got to time it, and sometimes the bats go too fast. You can learn their way around the maze, but like I say, the controls are so sort of clunky. It's difficult to sometimes get your character to do what he's supposed to be doing. Now, bear in mind you're in a taxi, so how the bats can get inside there and actually bite you, I don't know. Perhaps Shaky should take to driving with his windows done up, and that would help things. Anyway, that's the Shaky game. It's instantly forgettable. You see all those puns based around his songs there. I bet even when they were coming up with those, they thought, Jesus Christ, these were abysmal. And like I said, the game is as bad as his dancing, even though his some of his tunes were admittedly quite catchy. But anyway, that's a Shaky game. So we move on to a really curious one, this one. And hang on, we're not moving on yet. Yes, we are now. We're moving on to the Thompson Twins adventure game. Now, this was from 1980, where's my bit of paper, 1984, and apparently was given away by C&VG. Now, I believe it's available in one of those sort of like floppy vinyl things, those shit record things you used to get on the cover of magazines like Lookin' and Smash Hits and stuff like that. But it's an adventure game featuring what looks like the naked Thompson Twins on the beach. And as you'll see, first go, I end up killing them basically. Thompson Twins were a fairly successful band, weren't they, in the sort of early to mid 80s? Doctor, We Are Detective, and now I've challenged myself to think of some Thompson Twins songs. Hold Me Now, that was another one. Yes, so they did a handful of hits, and I don't know how this game came about or anything. I don't like adventure games. I've never been a sort of huge fan of them, and this does nothing really to to sort of alter my view on that. It's quite sort of slow and ploddy. I didn't, to be honest, give it much time when I was playing it, but excuse me, excuse me. Whoa, frog in my throat there. Yeah, I didn't give it an awful lot of time. But then, like I say, the genre is not one that I've been a massive fan of over time anyway. But I thought it was interesting just to show you. Hello, that thing's bleeding, inflating again, squishing my arm. Just to show you that it's a curio that does exist, and as well the Shakein Stevens one, the sort of game released on the B-side of an album, which I've never heard of that before. If anyone else has, then please let me know. Now, the next one that's coming up is obviously the one that everyone was going to guess. It's widely regarded as one of the classics on the spectrum. And it's Frankie Goes to Hollywood from Ocean, 1985, by Denton Designs. Now, you will see from the clip, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing in this game. I've tried to get into it a few times, and I've never been able to, even through like watching walkthroughs and things. I've never ever been able to fathom this game out whatsoever. That's not to say it's a bad game. That's all my fault. It's not the fault of the games. No, it was very, very highly regarded across all the formats that it was released on. But you know, it might as well be like it's as. I think learning Japanese would be easier than understanding Frankie Goes to Hollywood for me. For me, I need games that I can instantly sort of get into because I'm a bit thick, really, when it comes to game playing. But yeah, it was a great success for Ocean. One of those sort of licenses that doesn't sound like it should have worked. Now, I'm pretty sure there was an article about it years back in Retro Game, but perhaps it was actually an article on Denton themselves, not necessarily just the game. But yeah, a strange license to go for, but one that, you know, they sort of made it work. So, you know, very adventurous. And finally, it's not really a game. It's a utility, more or less. And again, as with Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Wham! The Music Box. Released in 1985 by Melbourne House, but this is obviously before Wham! Had split up. And then it was released again as just the Music Box, because obviously there was no Wham! Anymore. Now, I'm rabbiting over it, but you can hear that there's a beeper rendition, a careless whisper sort of going on in the background there. Again, I have not got a clue what I'm doing here, so I'm just letting this bit play out. I press a few buttons and make a few beepy noises. A bit like a budgie bashing his mirror just for fun. You know, it's a bit, just to kill a few minutes without really knowing why I'm doing it. But, yeah, I just thought I'd sort of try and show you a few things that were based on and around pop stars or groups from the 80s. It's, you know, good job Codemasters never got in on the act. We've had Professional Ultravox Simulator, or the 5-Star Fighting Game, or who else was there? You know, Mel and Kim, The Adventure. But I'm just being stupid there, aren't I? Right, that's the end of the video. It's just a short, fun one. Just to hopefully try and show something sort of a little bit different from what I've been doing lately. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, let me know. And if you wish to subscribe to the channel, please do. Help me come up with some ideas of things to cover. Engage in conversation. I enjoy all of that. It's all great fun. You know, there's a wealth of specky stuff out there. I've got a lot of ideas and things on the go. There's some great indie sort of homebrew games coming out. Anyway, take care of yourselves and goodbye.